evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airwaves with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. We conduct our nets on the 08 machine for our voice transmissions. And so I'm going to pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact on the 08 machine before our net gets fully underway here this evening. Again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, pausing. Doing that, and again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. So far checked into our net this evening is Rod, KD7QKU, Jessica, KS7UHK, Lee, N7KC, Richard, K7ITX, and myself, Dave, KD7ZYM. Is there anybody else who would like to check in?
Good evening, Dave. This is James, WW7ATS.
WW7N, we have you checked in. Thanks for joining the net. Anybody else wish to join in? Being none, we'll get the ball rolling on the net this evening. Let's start with Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you very much, Davey. Dave, good evening to the group. This is KD7QKU. In Tacoma, Washington. Well, let's see. Seems like every day I have some kind of a little project. Can't remember what all I did today, but I put a TV set out on the patio, cleaning that place all up and so it's nice and clean up. And I put a splitter in and I hooked it up and I couldn't get it to work. I was flabbergasted. I just kept doing it over and over and it wouldn't let work. I'd go to the, instead of the antenna, I'd go to the cable or box or whatever and click on it, and it just wouldn't work. And so I came in and I told Joanne, it's stupidity when you keep doing the same thing over again, you expect a different outcome. So I said, after lunch, I'm going to go get a different splitter. Well, first of all, I said, I'm going to hook it up direct without a splitter to see if it works. I hooked it up direct, it just worked fine. So I went down a different splitter, and lo and behold, the splitter wasn't any good. I kind of collect those things when people throw them away. I guess that's why they threw it away. All right, back to that KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, Ron, thanks for that. Let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
Well, you never know when you're going to need an extra splitter. KF7UHK, Jessica up here in Everett. I'm like that, someone says, when I get a new cable box, because the last one died, they'll always have the line code and the cable connection that they give you new ones on. And I keep all the old ones. And the line codes, I usually cut off the little end of it that is not very useful to me, and I use those line codes for other things. I'm always using line codes for making something that needs to be plugged in. So, let's see what happened today. Boy, it's like 76 degrees today outside. It's like summertime out there still on September 8th. I think it's pretty good. We'll see how our weather goes. My little weather guesser says sunshine, and it looks like our moon is, I can't remember what it said. It looks like it's full here, but I know it's not. Otherwise, I don't have much to say just yet. I see James just popped down there, and I'm going to give it back to you. This is Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, Jessica, thanks for that. Well, let's see. Up next was Lee, N7KC, but it looks like he's not with us right now, so let's skip on down to Richard, K7ITX.
Okay, catching me off guard a little bit. Okay, well, I'll make it a little short to start with here. Let's see. Well, I'll start with I'm wearing haven't worn this shirt continuous, but this is the same shirt that I wore when I had ice cream and pie at Ron's a couple nights ago. And the reason I put it on is because I'm real proud of the picture on the shirt. Let me see if I can get it in full display on YouTube here. Okay, so I'm really, what it is Father's Day present from my daughter. It's a picture of Pippa, the dog, and the infamous Mika, the cat. And so anyway, I thought it'd be fun to show it on the net tonight. So with that, K7ZYM, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks for sharing that with us, Richard. Let's go on to James, WW7ATS.
Well, good evening all. I thought the dog and the cat were wearing masks, like, COVID masks, and so I thought that's what it was. But I guess they're not. Well, anyway, okay, so everybody has their thing that when they're throwing stuff out, they always, I see Jessica has the power cord problem where you throw the whole giant thing out, but you got to cut the power cord off because you just might need that power cord someday. Absolutely, yeah, I know that feeling. My personal siren song of stuff that you have to question why did they throw it out is coax cable, right? I mean, why did someone else toss the coax cable? Maybe because it wasn't any good anymore. Did you ever think of that, Jim? No, you don't, because you just go, oh, what a free piece of coax cable. And even after you resign in defeat that the coax is dead and will never come back to life, you have to take the outside off and then decide what you're going to do with the inside part, which has blown more than one fuse in my life, and I probably should just stop at that. I got a 6-meter antenna, the famous 45-degree angle horizontal vertical polarization out on my deck, and I didn't quite have time. Last time I checked, it loads up really nicely on 2 meters. I was going to see how low a power I could go, but right now I just got the 3-element J-pole out there. And I also was given another antenna that's quite a mystery. It's a piece of PVC pipe, but I don't know what's inside it. But it sure loads up nicely on 2 meters. It's a very good radiator, too. So I'll have to look up. It's got a call sign designed by, for, and 2 call signs on it. So I've got to look up to see the design of this antenna, who makes it, and how they do it. So if anybody knows what you hide inside PVC pipe to make a 2-meter, 70-centimeter antenna, you can share with us all what that might be. Otherwise, I guess you'll just have to wait till next Saturday. This is James, WW7N, turning it back to net control. Take it away, Dave.
WW7N. James, well, it sounds like you've got a J-pole inside a plastic piece of PVC pipe, anyway. But anyway, when they're cut to the right length, they work very well and resonate very good. Well, here in Lake City, I've got 75 degrees, and believe it or not, sunset tonight was at 7:34, so we have a net in darkness now. And contrary to what everybody was saying on the weather, we were going to have rain last night. Well, it didn't happen. Got a little thunder, but no rain here in Lake City. And that was sort of a disappointment. I was looking to get my roadies with a little natural watering from nature, but I guess I'm going to have to get out and spray again tomorrow with some water. And I've been experimenting with a little air fryer. It's been kind of good. I had this hankering for a taste for French fries. And so I was trying to figure out what is the best way to pick up that. And I just happened to have an air fryer that I've never used, so I went and got some cut French fries at the frozen section of the supermarket, brought them home and stuck them in the air fryer for 8 minutes, and oh my gosh, they really turned out delicious. They were crispy on the outside, and inside they were just scrumptious. I was impressed with that. I had to have 2 servings of them. So So that's what's happening here in Lake City. And it's time to ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. So that out of the way, we can go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, this is KD7QKU again. I guess you guys hear me okay. Richard's nodding. Okay, well, it was hot here today. I actually saw 85 degrees on one of the thermometers. Hotter than I really wanted it to be. And we didn't have any rain, and I didn't hear any thunder. And James, I think that antenna you got, it looks to me, or it sounds like it would be a really nice stealthy antenna. You could make it into a little flagpole, or you could do a lot of things. And you could put it right out in front where everybody could see it, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. So it looks like a neat thing to me. So anyway, what else is going on? I'm trying to think. Seemed like I was busy all day. But we have a bridge. There's two big cabinets on either side of our headboard on our bed, and then there's a bridge, I call it, that goes across the top. It's got lights in it. They point down. Well, when they point down, they shine in your eyes when you're in bed. I don't like it, so I put a 4-foot fluorescent light up there years ago. And then we had our lights changed over to LED. Well, it's too bright. I mean, I just put it up the other day and turned it on, and it really lights up the room. So today I made a cover to kind of put on top of it and see if I can dull it down. I may have to make the cover not quite as long so it doesn't cover all the bulb. Maybe just, 2/3 of the bulb or something. I made it out of some aluminum that I had, so it won't get hot or catch on fire or anything, so we'll see how that works. Check it out tonight. So anyway, I was asking Richard about these other hams that are over here in Tacoma. Some guys that he knows of, and I think maybe this winter or this fall would be a good time to try to get a hold of them, get acquainted. So anyway, small group tonight, so back to net KD7ZYM and the group KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK. You were talking about French fries there. I was just going to say, why stop at 2? My own half doesn't like potatoes so much because they're starchy and that kind of thing, but yeah. Potatoes in any form, I love. Tonight we'll be having some kind of a chili with pierogies. Not really quite chili because I don't have any chili peppers, but it's a red sauce I'm making and having pierogies, and I'm not sure what's in them. I think it's cheese and something. Cheese and I want to say onions, but they should be really good. So I'm going to make that tonight, working on that. And then today I was lazy and watched several of the Star Trek movies on a Star Trek marathon today. And I think they played 2, 3, 5, and 6. They didn't play 4, and I didn't see them play 1. But I caught 3, 5, and 6. And that was kind of fun, even though I'd seen them a long time ago. It's fun to go back and look at them a little more closely and look how hokey they're getting as I'm getting older. And so that's always makes you a little unhappy as you see flaws and things, and you start looking a little deeper and think about the whole science of it all and seeing how hokey it is. But great movies anyhow. And last thing I was going to say is Ron, if you could redirect your light in a different direction, make it a little more offset, that'd probably help a lot because I understand that completely. Or if you could put a dimmer on it, that'd be nice too. I'm going to pass it back to Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, let's see. We go to Lee M7KC, but it appears that he's still checked out for a bit. So let's move on down to Richard, K7ITX.
Okay, well, let's see here. I actually have a video. Let's see if I can find it here. It's in this collage of things. Let's see, make it full screen. Alright, and let me try to get get rid of some latency. Oh yeah, latency isn't too bad. Okay, so I told you guys that I was surprised at the track on Saturday in Portland, Saturday afternoon at the sports car event that I was at with our car, that I was surprised by a streaming YouTuber that I was familiar with and recognized him right away and kind of blurted him out. So I actually thought I'd just show you, of course without sound, what his show looked like as he was kind of making his way towards our, so he's, as I'm looking at the YouTube, he's looking at a rear engine Ford that it's pretty cool. He really liked it. I like it. It's kind of like based on a Ferrari type design. But anyway, here we are he's walking over to our Datsun 510 number 7. He loves the paint job, and so do I. So, and then right about now, you're going to see me kind of jump up in a second or two and kind of run over it. Well, I ran pretty fast, obviously. And so it was, and then I met his girlfriend, Ling. The YouTuber is Portland Andy. And so I was just describing to him, how good our car is and how we're first in class and all that sort of thing. But I don't know. I just thought it was just kind of cool and fun. The team sure enjoyed being on a show that's worldwide. He's been known to have, I'm not sure how many people are watching, but he's been known to have, thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of viewers at any one moment. And that's how he makes his living. Believe it or not, they'll sell him in. When you have 10,000 people sending in $5 now and then, it tends to add up. So, anyway, thought that'd be fun to show you guys. With that, KD7ATS, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX. Well, Richard, you may be getting a postcard from AFTRA, wanting you to join the union from Actors Guild with your presentations, so worldwide known on the net. Well, let's move on down to James, WW7N.
Well, Ron, I found it interesting that you're dimming the lights, you're trying to reduce light, because I decided last fall, winter, I didn't have enough light in this place. So I'm actually trying to get more lamps in service on my 15-amp circuits here in the house to see if that has anything to do with, like, when I get up in the morning and just general mood and how much I get done. That's this fall-winter experiment. And I like Jessica's idea, too, the dimmer. I have dimmers in both my bathrooms. And people, when they come and visit, they go, why do you have a dimmer in your bathroom? Well, it's because I dim the lights down because I get up in the middle of the night, and bright light will kill your melatonin production. So, you have to have enough light, obviously, to hit the target, but not enough to kill your melatonin production in the middle of the night. But I take supplemental melatonin anyway. I take the Trader Joe's. It's the smallest dose around, so you can take one in the beginning of the evening, and then, when you get up in the night, one in the middle. And I was looking today at Costco. I thought they had melatonin there, but it was a larger dose. And I guess the trick is to take a small dose, just enough so your own body doesn't forget how to make it. So anyway, that was an interesting trip today. I went to the Costco in Redmond, and it was always, I should have taken videos, because it was interesting to see the different kinds of face coverings everybody was wearing. Everything from the Jesse James to the person, who probably just came from the ER, middle-aged lady that had the full N95 and face mask, and I go, well, wherever she worked, she probably didn't even notice when she left, because it all looked very comfortable and very functional, like she just wears it all the time. But anyway, that's always an interesting study in human behavior, to go to the Costco on a weekday and see what everybody's doing. Oh yeah, there was, let's see, one other thing I have here.
and that is the light is getting darker now. So, Dave, you are the one that had the correct answer. What's the shortest true day of the year? Because I think it's not the solstice. I think you're the one that pointed that out last year. I haven't looked yet to see when we'll have the least amount of light here at the northwest. So if anybody knows that, you can sing out. This is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue.
WU7N, James. This is Dave, KD7ZYM at Lake City, and for James, 15 amps, LED lights. Boy, you could have sunshine that would light up the neighborhood on a 15 amp circuit anyway. So I don't think you'll have any problems at all getting a bunch of light to show up. And that's about what I've got to say here in Lake City, so we'll move back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Connected N7KC.
We're getting a little audio from you.
He's waving his hand. I think that means he's going to be talking in just a few seconds.
Sign language 101, not going well tonight.
It's my job to have comical audio.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yay! Welcome!
I accidentally changed frequencies. I don't know how I did that, but I went to reach for the volume and I turned the wrong knob and I went someplace else. So I had to come back and put the correct tone in. I have the old tone, I guess, in memory and I have to change it. So anyway, so now I forget what I was going to say. It wasn't important anyway. Oh, I was going to ask if a 4-foot fluorescent light, can you dim them with a dimmer? I don't know. I never thought about it, but Jessica might have a good idea. What do you think? Can you dim it with a dimmer? D7QKU back to that.
KD7QKU, Ron, thanks for that. Let's go to Jessica, KS7UHK.
KS7UHK, my computer overheated, so I'll be back. It'll take a while for that to get back up. I have, I think, four foot LED fluorescents. They just fit right in the old fluorescent circuitry, and they run just fine in my kitchen here. I don't know if they can or not. There might be something out there, but I think that's still kind of on the edge of maybe not. So don't know about that. Of course, you could always find some other filter material. You know, foil's a good one to get everything out, and then you could put other things up there, you know, paper or things like that to change the tone of the light coming out. Maybe some tag board or some manila to tone down the blues of lights that comes off. So I'm not really sure. But I got to tell you real quick, while I'm still here, is that I went to a thing called Freedom Fest this last weekend up here at E.B. Island, which is kind of between Everett and Snohomish. You know, you go across the E.B. Island trestle there, and that's a little island in between. And a friend of ours has been doing this thing for about 12 years now, and there were probably 50 bands that came. Each one gets an hour to play, and no less, no more. And I got a really great video of one of the bands playing, and now I'm connecting with them and want to go show off my work to them, and they were kind of impressed. So that's kind of cool. I like getting together with bands and seeing
how I can help them or how they can help me, or somehow rub each other's back, basically. So my computer's coming up here. I'm going to go get off of here and go make that happen. So this is KF7 UHK.
KF7 UHK. Well, welcome, Lee, N7KC.
Okay, did I make it? Okay, goody. Alright, got my timer running. Well, when you're talking about LED lights, I was going to relate to N7KC, Lee in Port Angeles. When we were still living in Seattle, in our neighborhood, they came in and changed all the street lights to LEDs. Oh boy, they were really intense. Just an awful lot of light. And so I was curious about the spectrum of those lights. And discharge lights like fluorescence and sodium vapor and whatnot have always got emission lines. And they're heavy in the blue, and they're ultraviolet in the blue. And so I have a handheld spectrograph, and I was just looking, I can't think where I put that thing. It must be in the garage. Anyway, there's something, it's just a little thing with the diffraction grating, and you can just carry it along, and you can just check the spectrum of any light source. And I was surprised to find that those bright LEDs had a continuous spectrum. There was no bright lines, there were no dark lines. It just looked like it was sun, or an incandescent bulb, or something like that. So it was a continuous spectrum, and it didn't seem to be particularly strong in the blue or anything like that. They were very white, but at least with the gadget I had, I couldn't really measure the amount of light in the blue, but it wasn't super duper bright like you'd expect it to be if it were line emission. So anyway, the LEDs that I looked at had a continuous spectrum. I know what Jessica's talking about with those 4-foot drop-ins, and I don't know. I've got LED lighting in the garage here. I've got a dozen of the 1-foot by 4-foot panels, and they're dimmable, and so forth. And what they do is that they take a string of LEDs and they have it in a frame around a plastic, flat plastic insert, and it lights the edges. That whole thing turns nice and white. And they're really nice. Oh no, it's time, what do you know? N7K, and I had chores to do, that's why I had to go. N7KC, back to you, Dave. Good.
N7KC, thanks for that. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Okay, well, now that I've done all my show and tell, now I guess it's just tell. It's pretty weird how, I don't know, just space in your mind and just the electrons floating around in the air. So the reason why I bring that up is I saw my I saw my nephew, a real young guy. He's been working at Microsoft now for 2 years, so it was pretty exciting to talk to him a little bit. And, didn't get into a lot of detail about what he's doing because I mainly saw him at a reception for my sister-in-law who's moving to Texas. But the reason why I mentioned my nephew in Microsoft is because then the very next day, I got a phone call from Microsoft contractors. A car had driven into a building and did quite a bit of damage in Redmond at one of the Microsoft offices that I just happened to help build about 16, 17 years ago. So I just thought, God, what a weird coincidence. I just rarely think about that thing and that project, and then lo and behold, I talked to my nephew who maybe even works in the same building, and then now, next thing I know, I'm working on a Microsoft project. And believe it or not, the amount of damage a car can do, if you'd only hit the light standard or the tree or several other things, but somehow he missed everything and had to hit, the most vulnerable part of my window system. So even though he only really damaged the bottom 5 foot of a window vertical that spans 4 stories, the whole damn thing has to be replaced. And I mean, it just has to be. That's how the building's engineered. And so literally we're going to have to not tear apart all 4, well, it's all the glass. There's 8-foot panels, 8-foot wide panels on each adjacent, the adjacent sides of each of this vertical. And so, I got 16 foot by, 36 foot to have to rebuild. Now, of course, most of the damage is, just at the bottom, but everything has to be removed from the top down. And then, of course, there's landscaping and all. Or what about the ceiling grid that's tied into the system? I took a wild guess that my work is anywhere from $80,000 to $150,000, and then add in damage to trees and landscape and along the sheetrock. There's going to be a lot of damage to where the windowsills sit on the finished wall. That all is going to get torn up for 3 floors up at least. I'd say by the time this thing's all said and done, this one car may have done $500,000 worth of damage. It's hard to imagine. And so it reminds me of when my son hit a power pole and did $13,000 worth of damage. He only had $10,000 in property liability on his insurance, so the other $3,000 came out of his hide. If this kid only has $10,000, like I told my boss, I said, one thing we got to establish up front, that this is not an insurance job. This is Microsoft's problem, and it's going to come out of Microsoft's bank account, nobody else. And as far as I'm concerned, they're probably self-insured anyway. They can get the money from the guy who did the damage of his car any way they feel like. But if they're trying to make this any of your problem, you're going to run away from this job as fast as you can. KD730 K7ATS, back to net control.
K7ATS, Richard, thanks for that. Let's go on down to James, WW7ATS.
Yeah, it's always important to establish who gets the bill. Isn't that always the way it is in just about everything like this? I just went out to Google, and this is pure power, folks. I tried to look on news, Microsoft building crash to see, there were tons of pictures, but the question is, did it get to any news outlet? And the answer is no, I don't think so. If this occurred within the last 4 weeks, there is no wire service carrying pictures of the car in the side of the Microsoft building, which I think that is absolutely amazing if you stop and think about it. There's no such thing as a free press. It's all about how much you can pay them, either to publish it or not publish it. Here's news you can use. If you've got any of the little curly Q or fluorescent lights or any of those kind of lights, I found out that my transfer station for free recycle will only take 5 per household per day. So if you're cleaning those out, fortunately my transfer station is almost on the route to something I do about once every week or 10 days anyway. But one of the things, I cleaned out a hoarder house a couple years ago, and this guy, I guess he was really amazed at Puget Sound Energy when they gave out really cheap curly Q lamps, whenever that was, 10 years ago, I mean, time flies. And so these are not only the curly Q lamps, but these take a solid 3 minutes to come up to power. I mean, they're really annoying. They're really annoying. But I got a whole box of them, so if you've got an application where you don't mind, it takes 3 minutes to come up like a porch light or something, I've got them, but then when you get rid of them, you can only get rid of them 5 at a time. They can't count a recycle, so I know it's kind of a balanced thing. But on the subject of LED dimmables, there is a guy on YouTube called Big Clive, easy to remember, B-I-G and then C-L-I-V-E. He has his own website, he has a lot of YouTube videos. I'm a follower of him because what he does, he buys all this junk from China and then tears it apart on camera. And he's apparently quite a skilled engineer in manufacturing and power, and he'll tell you all the things wrong with it. And one of his favorite things to do is to tear apart LED lights and tell you why they're going to burn your house down or why this one could electrocute you or whatever's wrong with it. So that would be an interesting search. If you wanted to find out is there a dimmable fluorescent LED tube light, I would search his channels and see if he has anything out there. Because my response is there's two kinds of LED lights in the world. There's dimmables and there's non-dimmables. But I think it really does matter what kind of dimmer you have. If it's a straight rheostat, you really have to get an LED. It's really a whole system built into the light bulb that is dimmable. It's not just an LED in there. There's a lot of other stuff. And that's very interesting because he's quite knowledgeable about that, and I've learned a lot about watching his channel. I love it when he tears apart the stuff that pretends to do something and it's not even close. Like it's supposed to be some kind of sterilizer, and you open it up and all it is just an optical frequency LED and like a little fan in there or something like that. There's absolutely nothing in there that will sterilize anything. And I'm convinced he must have a relationship with people in China to send that stuff because, yeah, Amazon is Amazon, and there's a lot of garbage out there, but man, he really gets some good ones. So he must have some really good sources out there. Well, anyway, long squelch tell on the repeater tonight. I'm wondering if anyone else is noticing that, or is it just me on the 08 machine. This is James, WW7M in Northeast W with the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Let's turn it back to our net control. Dave, take it away.
WW7M, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. And for Ron with his fluorescent lights. In photography, we use what's called neutral density filters, and they come in gel formats. You can wrap the bulb in those, although that's kind of expensive. The other thing is, probably the cheapest thing, you can wrap them in parchment paper, which is sort of heat resistant, so it wouldn't ignite. The other thing is drafting paper can also be used to dim down the light. And that's my only advice for that. So let's go back up to Ron, KD7GKU.
KD7QKU here. Well, we do have some parchment paper. That's probably a pretty good idea. Right now I have a piece of aluminum that's about 4 feet long and probably about, 14 inches wide. And I put a crease down the center, made it kind of like a V, and I just set it on top of it. They're about 2 feet from the ceiling. You'd think when they point upwards at the ceiling that it would kind of diffuse the light, but I'm telling you, it makes the whole room awful bright. So anyway, we'll check that out tonight. Plug in there pretty soon. I haven't had it on since it's been dark and see what it looks like in the room. It might be just fine. If it's too dark, I can shorten it up to about 3 feet, cover about 3 feet. Let the ends stick out. So, let's see what time it's going. We've got a lot of time left. What else did I do today that was worthwhile? Help Joanne move kind of a bookshelf thing in her office. Joanne always wants to move something from one side of the room to the other side of the room. Never fails. So she wanted to move it from one side to the other, so we moved it. After she unloaded it, now she's in there loading it back up again. I don't know. Anyway, we're slowly but surely getting rid of stuff and getting stuff put away. There's less and less stuff around, but there's still a lot of it. So, I guess that's about it. Interesting listening to everybody else, that's for sure. So back to net, KD7QKU.
87QKU, Ron, thanks for that. And ID time again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, 87ZYM. So let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK. I saw a thing where a guy on the internet took apart one of these external battery packs you can buy and charge them up and plug your phone into it and run your phone off and on them. And they'll say like, it has 10 amp hours or something on it. This guy will pull these things apart and then show you what's really inside and how much power they really give off. And I always find that really fascinating. And it's like, yeah, I do the scams. They look scammy when you see them on the shelf in the in the convenience store somewhere. Usually like a 7-Eleven, they'll have these things for sale. And if they're in 7-Eleven, unless it's chips and candy, or eggs and milk, but as for news, especially like local news, just this last week I was coming home from dropping Sylvia off at work, and I took an extra way home, but as I got close to my place here on Highway 99, or close to Highway 99, someone had got hit by a car, and I knew this only because like 2 ambulances were in front of me and about 6 cop cars, and then I found out later, someone had gotten, and there's people always running back and forth across the Highway 99, and it's like 7 lanes if you count the center turn lane. 7 lanes in rush hour traffic that people want to not go on the crosswalk. They just think, I'll just go right across here. And someone got hit, and I don't know how well they did, but they took him away down to the hospital down here in Everett. And that was kind of frustrating because I just couldn't find enough information about it. I was thinking, go to police blotter here in Everett, you'll find something. And they said, they closed the road off for a vehicle person accident, and that was about all they really gave, and that was too bad. Because I'd like to find out, what was the outcome of this? And I just don't know. I don't know the age, I don't know the gender or anything. So, anyhow, let's see. Is it from here? I think that's all I have written down. This is KF7UHK.
KF7UHK. Let's go to Lee in Port Angeles, M7KC.
Okay, M7KC, Liam, PA. Well, I presume I'm in, and we'll go from there. We took a drive today. We decided we ended up at Hurricane Ridge this year, and so Paula packed a picnic, and we trekked up to the ridge, and I thought it might be in the clouds because it was a little cloudy over here, but it was not. We were below the clouds, and it was really a very, very pleasant day up there. And I took my little handheld 2-meter, it's a dual bander, so like a 278, I love the radio. And so we hiked up from the parking lot up on the ridge, that would be to the north. Yeah, to the north, and from up there I was able to get into the Strike Peak 14676 repeater work riding on 4 watts, and if I dropped this to 400 milliwatts, it was a little noisier, he said, but readable. And then I had a couple of nice conversations with a couple of fellows, not at the same time, but 2 different contacts, in Victoria. And it turns out from up there, it's really line of sight to Victoria. So, again, just beautiful communications on rural radio. That was really very nice. And we hiked up we're one of the chairlifts. It's the top of it anyway, whatever that's called. The head end, I don't know. And then back down the trail, back down to the car and came down. So it was really a fun afternoon. What we spent maybe 3 hours total doing that. It's so cool to live so close to this kind of stuff, 5 minutes and we're at it. And when we're living over there in Seattle, we used to drive and drive and drive. To get there, and then it was a long drive home too. So this is really pretty nice. Oh, Jessica's got they look like the old Polaroid glasses that, you watch 3D movies with. I don't know. Anyway, that's it, Dave. Thank you. And 7KC.
N7KC, thanks for that. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Wow, it gets around real quick when it's a short group like this. Man, I don't even think I've done anything else. I think I've told you my whole life, almost up to, you might glean from some of my description earlier that I did get a tour of Ron's new house. That would be, when was that, Ron? Oh, yeah, Monday. That's right, Labor Day. We had a holiday, so yeah. So, went to the reception for my sister-in-law before she moves to Texas, I guess either the end of this week or beginning of next week, something like that. And so the truth came out. The truth is that she isn't moving to Texas because of religious belief or mass or vaccine. She came out, and I'm glad she told me this, because she didn't tell her sister, her wife, my wife, she didn't tell my wife, but they're moving because she's about 61, 62, and her husband's 72, and they have 15 years to go on their mortgage. So I thought, well, that's a decent reason to sell your house high here in one of the most expensive parts of the United States and move to one of the least expensive parts of the United States and have a lot of money left over, and then now you can retire and not have 15 years to go on your mortgage. So, God, I can't fault her for that, and I think she's pretty smart for doing that. So, now, the only other problem is, even that all being said, her and her husband are anti-mask and anti-vaccine, so now they just have to survive. So, I'll be praying for them, let me put it that way. KD7ZIM, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, Richard, thanks for that. Let's go on to James, WW7ATS.
Oh, it's okay to be anti-mask and anti-vaccine. The important thing is you don't want to be anti-Regeneron. You know, that's like your third chance, and you don't want to blow that one. I was kind of wondering how this was handled, because it's my understanding there was some piece of clickbait out there a couple of weeks ago of people very, very ill at some place down in Louisiana or somewhere. I think it was before Ida, and one person was laying on the ground. And I wonder who broke the news to her that said, well, if you wait until you're curled up in the fetal position begging to give me drugs and your lungs are jello-brand gelatin, it's too late for Regeneron. I don't think it really works at that point. You gotta get the Regeneron fix as soon as your test turns positive, and while you just have barely a tickle in your throat. I was thinking a good reason to move to Texas, at least the hill country, would be the food. That would be a good reason to move there. But, I think someone put in the comments, also Louisiana and the South would also be a good food place to move. Man, they know how to cook in Louisiana. I do remember that from years ago. That's fantastic food down there. And I hope they recover from the hurricane as quickly as possible, because as I recall, they had this soft-shell crab, and the whole crab just kind of like sits on the bun looking at you, and you just, chomp the whole thing down. It's just great. So anyway, let's see. The other thing, Jessica, your glasses reminded me. I remember listening to somebody on the original cast of the original Star Trek commenting on the first movie made, and his gem of a comment was, when the series was done, after 3 seasons, we thought that was done, and we were done with that. But then he said, for sure, after the first movie, he thought for sure they were done then. He didn't seem to think that was the best effort for the Star Trek movies. And as I recall, there seemed to be long sequences of them staring in awe at the screen, and that's hard to fill up an hour and a half with that. But they did it. That's the amazing thing. That's true acting ability. And
anyway, this is James, WW7N in Northeast Bellevue. Looks like we've got about 10 minutes to go. So let me turn it back to our net control guy. Take it away.
WW7N, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, today I had an experience. I needed to get a hold of my financial advisor at Fidelity, do some profit taking. But it was kind of interesting. As you signed on, they wanted you to say your birthday over the phone. And I said, okay. So I did that. And then the person comes on and said, well, we verified who you are by your voice track. I don't know how that software works, but it's pretty interesting. That combined with the phone number that showed up and that identified me, and I was able to do my business with no problem at all. Didn't have to get Social Security numbers or anything else. So very secure. Anyway, I was kind of amazed at the technology on that. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM, and let's see, for Ron, I guess he could put on sunglasses if he was laying in bed, if it was too bright. You can always filter the eyes if you can't filter the light. Let's go up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, this is KD7QKU. Well, when you talk about finances, the other day I don't know if it was I think it was an email, can't remember now, and it was from Capital One. It said my account had been frozen because of suspicious activity, and I needed to call this number right away. So I got my card out, and I called the number on the back of the card, and I said, I got this email, and it said my account was frozen. So the lady said, your account isn't frozen. You know, there's nothing wrong with your account. She said, it's a scam. Man, I'm telling you, it would fool you for sure, because it looked exactly like the colors, the letterhead, all that stuff looked exactly like Capital One. So anyway, she said she'd report it, but so you got to be awful careful. They're after you all the time. I'm sure they would have wanted more than my Social Security number, right? So good night, everybody. Back to that KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, Ron. Just remember, audio, give your Social Security number, your address, your birthday, and we'll all be happy with that information. So let's go on to Jessica, KS7UHK.
That sounds like my password remembering service. You just tell me your passwords, and then for $1 I'll sell them back to you. And for $5 I'll take your PIN numbers. So there's a service out there for everything. Yeah, I had a phone call just recently from somebody saying at least automatically that they were the power company, and they were about to shut off our power out in the Mount Vernon home. Well, that's not happening. That's not happening. I beat the power line out there, so that wasn't happening. And I think I looked it up on the schedule power up there, and they said this scam's going out. Don't answer these. Let's see. Those glasses. These glasses that I have here are diffraction gratings. They're Pink Floyd, from the Pink Floyd laser show down here in the Everett Historic Theater. That they had a bunch of lasers pointed towards the crowd, kind of, mostly over our heads. And then you'd wear these things, and they played loud Pink Floyd music. And it was really a fun show. Lasers were all that good. They're not all that fantastic, but it was still a fun show, and I liked the music, and so that worked out. And it wasn't very expensive, and it was good. It's for a good cause, because I think our theater down there is a non-profit. But I'll tell you, in that first movie, of Star Trek, they went and found V'ger, which turned out to be the first Voyager, right? Well, in the fifth movie, one of those birds of prey from the Klingons shot it out of the sky. So I don't know how that got from here to there. So these are some of the things you notice after you have paid attention to the rest of the movies. And the last thing is, they didn't play the fourth movie, which is A Voyage Home, where they go to San Francisco, and they're just cut-ups the whole time. It's just a funny movie. I think it was directed by Spock. It was it was like a cut-up a minute, and they didn't play that one. I think you probably have to pay for that one, but they showed all the other ones. So So let's see, it's 54 minutes after the hour. It's almost the end, so I'm going to say 73. This is Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK. Let's go to Lee in Port Angeles, N7KC.
Very good. Oh, I don't have anything wrong. It's just always a lot of time to attend these. So, 7-3 everybody, and we'll see you down the pipe in 7KC in Port Angeles. Night.
In 7KC, thanks for joining the net this evening. We got your 7-3. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Almost was positive it wasn't my turn, but I just told you guys a big long story, and now well, let's see, 5 minutes to go. Gee whiz. So, so I do have a problem tomorrow morning, and I've got this Microsoft situation. I'm going to see if I can find the old drawings. It's on 2 or 3 computer boxes from what I have now in the closet, and whether or not it'll power up. And I mean, these drawings are 15, 16 years old. I mean, I was never, ever going to look at them again. Even a different company. So these would be the shop drawings for the work that my people did out there at Microsoft. So, but I'd already promised Debbie to go bowling with her in the morning. She's this Monday coming up is her first bowling league night, and so gee whiz. If you want to know the truth, I'd rather just, work on the Microsoft thing. Going bowling doesn't appeal to me all that much, but if I want to keep peace in the household, I'll figure out a way to accomplish both. So, with that, KD7ZYM and 73, everybody, K7ITX back to net control.
K7ITX, Richard. Thanks for that honeydew report. Let's go on to James, WW7N.
Well, this is why you're a professional married guy, Richard, so you know these things. You should open a service where you counsel people on this. Now, there is a touch of irony in this. If you have data that's aged 15 years and you can't look at it, and it's from Microsoft, come on, does anybody, kind of see taste the delicious irony of that? I have computers around here 15 years old, so if you could somehow manage to save the data, I could probably read it. But the trick I have run into, and I assisted someone else with this a couple years ago, it's not the fact that, when you get the bits, it's you got to have the program that interprets it. And the more bit intensive it was 20 years ago, the more complex that program tended to be, because they used compression back then, because we cared back then about data space. So that was the hard part. So anyways, I hope that helps. Give me a ring if there's any way I can help you. This is James, WU7N. Looks like we're at the top of the hour. Time for Dave to sign us off. So let me turn it back to you, Dave.
WU7N, James, thanks for that. Man, it's been a nice evening this evening. We have Ron, KD7CKU, Jessica, KF7UHK, Lee, M7KC, Richard, K7ITX, and James, WU7N, on the net this evening. And we'd like to thank the owners and operators of the 08 machine, the Tic-Tac Repeater Group, for allowing us to utilize the 08 machine for our voice transmissions for our net held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So on behalf of the Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, signing off the 08 machine of the net this evening. Good evening all. Again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Good night all.
N7K
disconnected.
doing good. We're just past exit 13 here on I-90 in for It's a Scratch. Are you still down there at DC in Auburn?
I am, as a matter of fact, yeah, I'm just pulling out of the yard. I'm on the HT with the deck in the box, so I may or may not have a good signal.
Here he's just fine. So, yeah, he's like, wow, that's impressive. Pretty clear. He's out in Auburn right now. So, yeah, I figure he was asking, kind of here and have a little bit of the radio, so I figured I'd get some demonstration.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, good deal.
And besides, we know that we're not have been on the airwaves very much lately, so we gotta, you know, exercise our route privileges.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been hanging out on 5.5. I've been being more diligent about turning the HD on and leaving it up on the dash there, so.
Yeah, I just got the VHF with me, unfortunately. Don't have anything else. So, but at least give it a demonstration, have a little fun here.
Absolutely. So, yeah, absolutely.
You got a busy night?
Not too bad. Ordered some milk. Should get done at a pretty good time today, unless something, goes awry. Should get out of here at a decent time. I'm going to run up to Cougar first thing in the morning, and I've got a low band receiver I'm going to install for PSRG up in our rack. I made use of that low band antenna we have on the tower, so that'll be interesting. Yeah, I put an end on it, and swept it. It's good. So those guys worked up another receiver, and so they've been playing around with 6 meters. But what the heck?
Awesome. Yeah, I need to get my butt up on the roof and get my 6-meter antenna put up and everything else. That way I can have 6 meters again. So, well, we'll let you get at it. I'm around here at the exit, so I'm going to try to get into the store over here and get stuff taken care of. But thanks for the demo, and I'll talk to you later on tonight. KSM BGI, WW7ATS.
Take care, 7-3, we'll catch you later. KSM BGI, I'll be clear, and I'll be clear, we'll see.